Good afternoon, Greater Philadelphia area. This is Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Tymon. She's Stacey Mitchell. And we have Nick Wolf behind the camera. And we all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline, the number one RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And if you get some value out of the show here, we're going to be talking about the lowest rates since last summer. A Coldwell Banker franchise leaving NAR, and Realtor.com housing market predictions if they're right or wrong. If you like what we have to share, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications on our YouTube link that we're going to have posted here. Ladies, this is probably the best news we've had, in my view, since last summer. We're seeing 6 5/8. So, Sarah, what's that number in decimal points?
6.62.
6.625%. And this is just tremendous news for people. And on top of that, we saw the FHFA increase the conventional loan limits. So we've got all this good news going on in housing. How are you communicating this right now? What's the temperature in the market as of today for the folks that you're helping?
I mean, I think it's nice being able to reach out and share some good news, and just kind of, take a temperature for where for like my buyers they're at in the process. If they kind of were thinking about holding off a bit, or they felt like the holidays were getting a bit hectic, being able to give them good news and, hey, this could really increase your affordability. Look what this is going to do to your monthly payment. Maybe you're okay like getting out there again once or twice, knowing that those pieces have fallen into place.
Yeah, I exactly the same. Just reaching out to my clients, especially the ones who may have been a little bit more hesitant, to purchase, kind of put it on the back burner, just to let them know if they're not paying attention, pay attention, because interest rates are coming down. So it's very exciting, and they're excited too. I found for the most part, people are really happy to hear that news, and it does pique their interest, and it sparks their, curiosity. They want to start, I see them, there's more traffic on their site. I see it coming through, especially on the MLS too, when I get the notifications when somebody logs in. So to me, it's been very, very good news. To my clients, it's been very well received. So I think we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. And then I think being able to kind of break it down a little bit further from just like rate to rate, but like, hey, on a $400,000 house, that's $350 a month less. So,
savings, yeah.
Right. So, being able to give them both the rate, which may or may not mean something to them, and what that means for their pocket.
Mm-hmm. And for my seller clients that have been waiting too, it's positive news for them, because they might not feel so locked in.
Right.
Getting into a low 6% interest rate instead of that 7 or, closer to 8% interest rate if they're trying to get into a new house and sell their existing home.
Right. And it helps them on both ends, because that, obviously on the buy end, when they're going to be, getting a new mortgage possibly, or whatever, they're able to see the savings there. But then also on the, for the buyers that will be purchasing the house that they put on the market, now they have a little bit more wiggle room as well.
Yes. And also for buyers that are going to be potentially looking at their home, at my seller clients' homes.
Yes.
So they're going to have a bigger buyer pool, I believe anyway, with the lower interest rates.
They're definitely going to have a bigger buyer pool. I mean, $300 can knock someone out of affording a home or not. I mean, Sarah, you're talking about $400 for a reason. That's right around where we see the average sale price come in on properties in our marketplace here. If you're not getting the word out to your clients, I mean, some people just don't even know this is going on because they pulled back so much. This was just 2 weeks ago, maybe 2.5 weeks ago, we were seeing 8% rates. So this is really exciting to see here. And on top of that, we're seeing that next year, the FHFA, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, is increasing loan limits. So all of a sudden, that Morgan Stanley study we talked about last week, where affordability could be on the upswing for buyers, well, we've seen this massive decrease in rates. We've seen loan limits go up, so now you can get a conventional loan with as little as 3% down on a property that's just over $800,000, and you can do a 5% down loan on a property that's $796,000 and change with these new loan limits. The loan limit for a conventional loan is now $766,000 and change. It's a 5.56% increase compared to last year. There's all these things happening right now that have drastically moved people from what I believe will be sitting on the fence to transacting at potentially a higher clip than what we saw in 2023. And this is all the more reason for people to be having meetings with folks like Stacey and Sarah right now, because the word's going to get out. And once the holidays are over, when everyone gets over this eggnog-induced coma that they're in, where they just, it's holidays, not hollow months, right? And there's such an opportunity now to buy homes and to transact in normal conditions, because after the first of the year, you're going to see a run on the market. You're going to see more homes getting listed, and you could be back into a really competitive situation.
Right. And I think with these different things coming into play, this is a good time to also continue to talk to your mortgage lender or talk to multiple mortgage lenders to find out, use them as a tool, for how can I afford this house now, and, use their expertise and, find out real time what this means for you.
Yes, we have in-house premier lenders that we work with, and they provided us that wonderful chart the other day that really broke it down in great detail, the difference between, obviously purchase price, but what the savings are monthly at the different interest rates. So that chart, I put it in PDF immediately and JPEG immediately on my phone so that I can shoot it off to my clients. Because when they can see those differences, it's one thing to talk about it. Hey, you can do this, that, and the other. But when you have that information to actually share to your clients, where they can study it at whenever they get a quiet time to look at it, it's very impactful. I thought that was really, really helpful that they put that out there.
Well, it was smart, because you don't have to be a mathematician to be a great real estate agent. You need to know how to calculate a few things. So these aren't tests that we're going on. These are appointments to convert sales. And a lot of people think they need to know it by hand, or, backwards and forwards, no cheat sheets. That's a bad assumption, Stacey. You're talking to an agent who's doing, 50, 60 sales a year on average. And hey, I downloaded it on my phone so I can show people. So
I love cheat sheets.
Why wouldn't you have a cheat sheet? It makes it, and it's no different than writing notes and being overly prepared, which is what great agents do, because you got to be able to have this information ready on demand. When a buyer walks into a home and they're having an emotional reaction and they're excited, and maybe you only have a couple hours, I'm a big believer in moving while the iron's hot instead of letting. Time can be the enemy for sales in a lot of cases, in a lot of ways. And it's not making people do anything they don't want to do. In my view, it's just being a smart, prepared agent. Because if you go to, an accountant's office during tax season, they know exactly what your tax rate's going to be. These aren't guessing games here. So all of this is going on, which I find is fascinating right now. And we talked a couple weeks ago about how that we're at an inflection point in the market. This is separation season for agents who are, again, they're taking the 3 or 4 days off plus whatever weekends are involved there and still working instead of just mailing it in, which is unfortunately what a lot of people do right now. Real estate consumers think something different is coming. And I want to share some of this data with you here. We went over all the good stuff. This is like the best, most positive news we've had, I would say, in months on this show, with commission lawsuits and rates and Jerome Powell trying to crash the housing market. So here's what consumers think. Lending Tree conducted a survey, and it's 2,000 U.S. consumers, so it's not a huge sample size. According to the results, 44% of Americans believe the market is at risk of a crash over the next 12 months, and 31% are uncertain. So, and then breaking it down by generation, 52% of millennials are most likely to expect the market's going to crash within a year. Now, only 30% of baby boomers have the same expectation, probably because they've been through other market cycles. So, it shows the wisdom there. Gen Z, 48% of Gen Z believes that there's going to be a market crash, 42% of Gen X. So there's all these people. This is pretty wild to me that 44% of people expect the housing market crash. Are you seeing that in the field, ladies?
it's an ongoing battle.
Right. You mean like seeing it amongst like clients, like thinking that's what is going to happen?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to wait for the market to crash.
Right.
I mean, that's been an ongoing battle the past at least a year, if not longer. I'm surprised by the amount of people in this survey. But I also would like to ask these same folks what their definition of crash is. What do you mean crash? Are you waiting for houses to drop? And I always ask this question: $50,000, $100,000. What do you mean crash? Mm-hmm. It's not happening.
Right.
I think this is more wishful thinking than it is they truly believe it's going to happen.
I've got a stat that's going to blow your mind here. More than 1/3 of Americans want a housing crash, right?
Why?
So 36% of homeowners and 35% of Americans overall are hoping the market takes a dive. While more than 51% of homeowners aren't keen to the idea, obviously 15% they want a housing crash to lower their property taxes. That's never going to happen, by the way.
They're two different things. That's not
and another 15% say it could improve market stability in the long run. And almost 1/3 of non-homeowners, so they see a housing crash as the only way they'll ever be able to afford a home. And the share is greater among Gen Z and millennials who are not homeowners. They're at 39 and 38% respectively. That is insane to me because there's so much GDP tied to housing. It's almost 17% of the GDP. I mean, you're basically saying I want the economy to just blow up.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, for non-homeowners, at least I can see why they'd maybe be rooting for a crash. Like, obviously, that's going to affect a lot more than just like them getting the house. But like, that's wild that homeowners would be like, come on, crash. Like, that doesn't
that
sense.
blows my mind because why?
Right.
Why would you want to lose your biggest asset?
Right.
Or lose the equity in your biggest asset? I don't. Right. That to me blows my mind. I don't understand it. Maybe they're hoping because they want to get their kids out of the house if their millennial kids are still in the house. I don't know, but I understand about the folks without a home that didn't purchase yet. If you're renting and you feel like, wow, I'm never going to be able to purchase. I don't know about that. Why don't you talk to an agent? Why don't you get the real information, not just listen to what you're hearing out there, all the noise. Really focus in and see. There's so many loan programs out there and available for first-time home buyers. I bet you half of these people don't even know what's available to them. They just are complaining that I'll never be able to afford a house.
Right.
That's a great point because we were talking on the Knowledge Brokers podcast last week about just knowing the local lending programs that are out there. I mean, a lot of people, I'm surprised how many people in Pennsylvania don't know about FHFA, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you don't know what FHFA is, it's a Pennsylvania housing loan just for the state. And we work with one of the top FHFA lenders. And the rate on that, so we're seeing 6.625%, 6 5/8 today. That's at 6 1/4 right now, 6.25%. And it's for first-time buyers, right? So that applies to a lot of these Gen Z and millennial folks. FHA's at 6.5 right now. So, I mean, you have all these different things happening. And your opinion, ladies, Jacob Channel, the Lending Tree senior economist, he feels the same way. He said right now home prices are high, as are rates. With that in mind, I can understand why some might wish for a housing crash that brings lower prices. Unfortunately, if the national housing market were to crash, odds are that it would bring down the rest of the economy with it.
Yep.
Which happened in 2008, by the way, if you want to look at history.
And that was ugly.
Yes.
That was ugly.
It was the largest global recession since World War II.
Wow. I'm currently working with a first-time home buyer, and he's approved for FHA. His lender actually has a program where he's going to get a 5% credit, to go towards his closing costs. So basically, he's got to come to the table with like $2,500.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I know, 5%. That's a huge amount, and that's coming from the lender. Now, if he chooses that program, his interest rate is going to be a 0.5 point higher than your standard FHA.
You pay with cash or you pay with your payment.
And he's okay with that.
Yeah.
Because he figures I'll take the closing cost help and I can always refinance down the road if I need to.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Is he able to refinance later?
Yep. If he wants to, he's able to do that. But yeah, I mean, I that was unheard of. I had to call the lender to ask him to confirm that. I'm like, are you sure it's 5%? And he's like, yeah, he was right. Yeah.
Wow.
So for buyers out there who think they cannot ever afford a home, please reach out to a local agent, reach out to a trusted lender. There's so many programs that are available.
And this really demonstrates how important it is to connect with someone that can actually give you information. I mean, so many agents, they just want to put you into a house and they feel like, oh, I've spent so much time with these people. But I know both of you, we've talked about it on the show here. I've had clients for years, and maybe you're not spending a lot of time with them, but it's a long process for them. And the goal is to guide them to making a good decision to help them get into a home ownership position or get in the right property for their household. Because if you're not doing that and making it about them, then they're not going to want to listen to what you have to say. And when the market turns like this, people tend to think that real estate agents are just telling people what the agent needs to say to sell a house, not what's actually going to benefit them. So backing off and taking time is really important. I mean, I've had clients I've nurtured for years, like plural. I mean, I think there's one person we're working with now. It was a 2017 initial contact. I have a child that's that old, right? I mean, Maddie would be 3X her current age, Sarah. So you have to look at it as playing the long game here. And if you're playing the long game, you're going to win in 2024. And we're going to get into that next here as we kind of look at what's going on with some of the stuff happening in the real estate industry. Here's the top worries that consumers have right now, and I want to end with this. So high home prices are 48% of non-homeowners. High mortgage rates are 35%. Homelessness is 30%. I'm assuming that means not owning a home. If that's just being homeless, we got bigger problems than that for sure. So there's, people are just concerned about affordability. And now that we're seeing rates have come down, and this study was published before rates came down to where they were. This came out last week. To me, this is all the more reason that you want to be putting the word out, using that script. Hey, Sarah, I'm not sure if you saw this. I'm just following up as promised. Rates came down to just above 6.5 today. That means you could be saying over $300 a month on your on a home that you were looking at just a couple weeks ago. Would that impact your housing plans? People don't know. And if you're not putting the word out, you're doing yourself and your clients a disservice. I look at this as an obligation of real estate agents. Anything else you two are doing to help inform the population about what's going on right now? I mean, we talked about, using these scripts. I mean, Stacey, you're downloading things on your phone and showing it to them. Sarah, I know we had a training today about some stuff about like email marketing. What else are you doing right now to get the population informed about what's happening?
I definitely started sending monthly market updates. So, yeah, it's what's going on in our local market, what the interest rates are, what I'm seeing out in the market. And I noticed that there's a lot of people that are opening up those emails. They might not be responding, but I know they're getting the information. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's very positive. Also, but this is on the flip side for sellers. I'm sending the text quick CMA. Mm-hmm. Just logging into Zillow and see where their home is right now. And I'll tell you, I've gotten so much good response from that. Right. People are super excited about their gains just on Zillow. I mean, that's just a Zillow number. Right. But their gains over the past couple of years. So sharing the good news with people is always a good thing. And I think we definitely need to do more of that.
Yeah. And it is nice being able, I know we touched on this at the very beginning of the show, but being able to reach out with like, hey, this is exciting, is always like it feels better when starting the conversation.
Yes. Yeah. It's so good to have good news to share.
Right.
It's like I want to get out and tell, go through my database and tell people what's really going on.
Sarah, both of you two are great at this. Sarah, in particular, I mean, you are excellent at staying positive in the face of like adversity, and I think that attitude helps you sell more houses and help more people, because no one wants that negative Nancy coming in. And Stacey, you're no different. But and it's when you come in with that kind of energy. Hey, like I got some really exciting news, and you start off like that. It's like you get people's attention. You can't be this monotone person. Like this is exciting news. This is the lowest rates that we've seen in almost 18 months. You better be shouting it from the rooftops and telling all your prospects right now, because if you're not, somebody else is.
Right.
And that's the thing you got to be mindful of in the current market conditions. So let's take a quick break here. We're going to come back, and we are going to talk about how a Coldwell Banker franchise is the latest firm that is stepping away from NAR and what it means. This is Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
For the best local mortgage service and great rates on your money, look no further than Mortgage America. We have been operating in the greater Philadelphia area for 40 years with a focus on smooth, easy access to home purchasing. Whether you're a first-time buyer, upsizing or downsizing, or just refinancing, we have programs for you. We also have closing cost assistance programs and access to subsidized interest rates. Pre-approval is free, no costs or commitments. To learn more, visit our website at mymortgageamerica.com or give us a call at 610-439-8000. We always have a person available to take your call with around-the-clock human service. Purchase your home with the personalized local service you find at Mortgage America.
Mortgage America is an equal housing lender. NMLS 128501.
The Tom Toole Sales Group is the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania with over $165 million in volume for 2021. I'm Tom Toole, and our team has achieved that kind of success by being a great place to work with and to work for. No one knows Greater Philly better than we do. We know real estate, but more importantly, we're real people. We hire the best agents, and we give them all the tools to succeed. Even our brand new agents sell 17 to 24 homes a year because our team delivers the best experience in real estate. Teams deliver a better experience than individuals, and we're a top 1% real estate team in the country. We call it AAA service. We're your advocate, ally, and advisor. Because this isn't a transaction to us. It's a relationship. If you're buying or selling a home, call the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX main line at 610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. That's tomtoole.com. Sell your home for more, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole.
Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want control over your income? Whether you have a license or not, call us today at 610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. Join our team, the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX main line.
When you're getting a mortgage, you shouldn't have to sacrifice great service just to get a great rate. At Mortgage America, we've been lending with this philosophy for over 35 years. We have access to great low rates without the complications and delays of big or online banks. We're a local Pennsylvania lender with loan officers that you can actually meet. As PHFA's #1 lender, we specialize in all residential mortgage programs, including first-time buyer programs and low down payment options. For your free pre-approval, call us at 610-439-8000 or apply online at mymortgageamerica.com. Mortgage America is equal housing lender. NMLS 128501.
Welcome back to Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Stacey Mitchell. She's Sarah Tymon. And we have Nick Wolf behind the camera. We all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX main line. And we're going to be talking about this Seattle-based Coldwell Banker franchise stepping away from the National Association of Realtors. If you learn something from this segment or anything at all in the show, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, click the bell for notifications, drop a comment, or if you want to talk about your situation, feel free to schedule a call with one of us in the comments. So this was not surprising to me because Seattle's one of those markets where you don't have to be a member of NAR to be part of the MLS, unlike here where it's if you want MLS access, you have to become a member of the National Association of Realtors. So the Seattle-based Coldwell Banker Danforth decided not to renew its affiliation with NAR starting in 2024. It's the first privately owned Coldwell Banker franchise in the U.S. to separate from NAR. There was a statement issued last Friday, and I'll read some excerpts from it from Dave Danforth, the designated broker owner. So the decision underscores our brokerage's unwavering commitment to agent autonomy and our belief in allowing agents to make choices that best suit their needs and principles. A lot of people are saying this is like another vote of no confidence in NAR. This is not something to be taken lightly here. What do you two think about this?
I believe that this is probably the start of a trend that we're going to see. Obviously, this company wasn't finding any value in the NAR. Mm-hmm. Along with their 300 agents that they're trying to protect and figure out, what are we getting for these dues that we're paying? Obviously, they feel there's no return on that investment. So good for them if that's what they chose to do. Yeah. I'm sure they'll be just fine.
Yeah. I mean, aside from getting access to the MLS, I don't personally feel that NAR does anything for me.
I think they lobby in D.C. for whatever. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
They are one of the biggest lobbyist organizations in the country, maybe the biggest.
Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of money to be a lobbyist or a lobbying firm. So that's where our dues are going. But what do we get from it?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Besides the MLS in here.
Right.
Now, how did they broker that? How did that come about?
So
and how
Seattle,
can we detach?
Well, we can't. So we're in a tough spot because Bright MLS requires you to be a member of the board in order to get access, which is the exact, this commission lawsuit. I don't see a lot of merits to it. The one issue I do see is that, hey, you want MLS access, you have to be a realtor. Mm-hmm. Like that is the one attachment I see here. I mean, we talked about what Jared James said last week, which the NAR and these other companies didn't lose the lawsuit. The other side won because they hired better attorneys and they ran a better case, which is, it's no different than watching a sporting event where the team that's not the better team won because they had a better game plan going into it. So that very much is the case here. Now, Seattle and that market, they don't require people to be members of NAR or a local association to get MLS access. So that's one of the rubs here, and I think that's one of the challenges. So that's exactly how they brokered it. Dave Danforth, I don't know him. He came out and said, hey, we've gotten some value. The only thing I really see that has value is the dispute resolution from the Board of Realtors because it keeps a lot of nonsense out of court. Okay. It's a lot easier to work out deposit money issues where everyone kind of agrees on something. I've been through a couple of those, and it's also, agent-to-agent disputes that are very clear-cut, but people are just not cooperating and they're not moving ahead. So I do like it for those reasons, but that could be done separately outside of NAR, or they could just have the local board. I mean, that would be something that's a little different. So to me, this is just if companies are going to start to do this, Redfin already announced the company separation in early October. Anywhere in RE/MAX, they settled the lawsuit. Anywhere's the parent company to Coldwell Banker, and it allows company-owned brokerages to end their NAR membership if they choose. I don't want to speak for what our firm would do because we are an independently owned and operated RE/MAX franchise because we don't have – it's not even an option, so there's really nothing to talk about. And then all of a sudden there's this verdict that comes out with, if you look at treble damages, it's going to be a $5.36 billion lawsuit that immediately went into appeals. I mean, this is just unraveling quickly for NAR. Mm-hmm. And had they – move to try to settle this sooner and not go to court and not go to jury. I mean, I don't think we're even in this situation in the first place. And it's continued missteps by an organization that's supposed to protect its members. And all it looks like they're really doing is trying to protect their jobs.
Yeah. What about further down? About the Department of Justice, the DOJ, reopening its case against NAR?
I mean, it's another thing that's unheard of. Yeah. I mean, so this is a great point, Stacey. So the DOJ has given oral arguments in the U.S. Court of Appeals to reopen its case against NAR for violations for antitrust. And this started, back in January. It was January 25th. The courts ruled that the closure of the antitrust suit was something that should have been done. I mean, they've never had these. It's an investigation, not a suit. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. It's unheard of for these things to be overturned. So, and unfortunately, it happens right after there's a presidential election. So you got to wonder how much of this is like policy based. And there's, for someone that spends all this money lobbying, it doesn't look like it's working out too well.
It's not. I think that whole organization needs a major shakeup. Like, if you could pick it up and just shake it up, it needs a major shakeup. Now, I know they put a new CEO installed. Like, I think, isn't she a temporary until they have somebody else come in? Other than that, that's the last thing we've heard about NAR.
And I'm sure they just had a big influx of money. I know I just recently had to pay my annual dues.
Yep.
So I'm sure everybody did. I don't think that's like based on when you joined. I think it's like,
they're due now.
They're due now.
So pay up.
So everybody just paid.
Well, I want you to think about this because obviously, you two guys make a lot more than this, and we don't need to go into details. But the average agent makes between $30,000 and $40,000 a year. It's like $700 to be part of these boards. That's a lot of money for someone who's making between $30,000 and $40,000 a year. So,
well, not to mention that then on top of it, you have your Bright,
your MLS,
and that's what 115, 120.
but the MLS, I see a tangible value.
Yeah,
for.
no, for
do.
sure. But just for like backing up
cost.
that if this is what the average agent makes, and then you're paying all these different
fees
things.
to all these different organizations,
Right.
annually,
right.
to be affiliated with. Yeah, I totally agree, Sarah. It's tough, and if the average agent makes between, what did you say, 30 and 40,000?
30 and 40,000. I mean, the numbers are all over the place.
That's a big part. It's
Well, and like
tough.
I know that it is only quarterly that it comes up, but sometimes it feels like it's all the time.
Like, I
Like
just
a
paid that.
notification that's like another payment
I
due.
know.
Great.
It's incredible, and stuff just adds up, right? So this is, I think, where people are starting to question this, and you may see a lot of, and I can't tell you how many folks I've talked to where they're like, hey, I'm not renewing my license this year, or I'm going to stay part-time. So now all these things it adds up, and because the market got a little harder, I mean, although the upside here is that folks like you two and myself and the people on our team that are committed, I mean, they're going to take a lot of market share next year. I am absolutely clear on that. NAR really has created this problem where no one bets on the organization anymore. I mean, they don't want to be part of it. I mean, you see large companies. I mean, Redfin is not anything to sneeze at. Say what you want about them as a discount limited service broker. They're not part of NAR anymore. And they had a seat on the NAR board because they're one of the top 50 brokerages in the country. So you're going to see anywhere in RE/MAX aren't requiring their franchises. I mean, the writing's on the wall here. So this is where, I think this is just kind of there's going to be more of this to come, Stacey, like you said, for sure. I think that's a really great way to look at this here.
I agree.
So let's take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we are going to talk about Realtor.com housing market predictions, and are they right or did they get it wrong? Next on Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
When you're getting a mortgage, you shouldn't have to sacrifice great service just to get a great rate. At Mortgage America, we've been lending with this philosophy for over 35 years. We have access to great low rates without the complications and delays of big or online banks. We're a local Pennsylvania lender with loan officers that you can actually meet. As PHFA's #1 lender, we specialize in all residential mortgage programs, including first-time buyer programs and low down payment options. For your free pre-approval, call us at 610-439-8000 or apply online at mymortgageamerica.com.
Mortgage America's equal housing lender, NMLS 128501.
You shouldn't have to deal with all the red tape when getting your mortgage from a big or online bank. At Mortgage America, we have access to big bank money, but with the personalized and detailed service of a local bank. We are here in your community and ready to serve with fast settlements, low down payment options, and first-time homebuyer programs. Pre-approval is free, no costs or commitments. For more information, visit our website at mymortgageamerica.com or give us a call at 610-439-8000.
Mortgage America's equal housing lender, NMLS 128501.
I'm Tom Toole of the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line. If you're thinking of becoming a real estate agent in the greater Philly area, I have a special offer for you. Our team did $165 million of volume in 2021, making us the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania and a top 1% team nationally. Our agents love us because we offer them a successful career, a great life, and an unbeatable culture. Agents who've been with us for at least a year average 30-plus sales. Even our brand new agents average 17 to 24 sales a year. We offer proven systems and expert training. We help you set more appointments and sell more houses. Now here's the offer. If you don't have a real estate license yet, we offer real estate scholarships so you can get one for free. Check it out at realestatescholarshipprogram.com or visit the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line at tomtoole.com. That's tomtoole.com. Get more out of your real estate career, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole.
Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want control over your income? Whether you have a license or not, call us today at 610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. Join our team, the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line.
All right. Welcome back to Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Tymon. She's Stacey Mitchell. We have Nick Wolf behind the camera. We all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we've got some Realtor.com market predictions for next year in 2024. I'm going to run through them with you, ladies. And before we do that, if you get some value out of this segment, you like what you hear, you got questions, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. We've got it all linked up here. And obviously, if you want to schedule a call with our team to talk about your needs, you can do that with the link in the comments as well. So Realtor.com, they came out with a couple things. One is like their top 10 housing markets. I'd love to know what the qualifications are here. When Toledo, Ohio is number one.
It's number one.
And then beating San Diego, for example, which is one of my favorite cities in the country. I don't know what top 10 means. I mean, it says the factors are cultural amenities, recreational opportunities, educational institutions, and cost-effective lifestyle. But then they got all these California cities in there. I mean, good luck with the tax bill there. So now, they're saying, as I'm reading this, it's expected sale and price growth rates are the reasons why. So these are up-and-coming markets, which anytime someone says up-and-coming neighborhoods, I'm like, how long is it going to take for the neighborhood to actually arrive? That's always my question. So let's focus on the market predictions. That's what I really want to get into here. They have 5 of them. So I'm going to run through these here with you, ladies. I'd love to get your reaction to them. So the first one is around home prices. So what the summary of this here is projections suggest a potential improvement in affordability in 2024 as home prices are expected to ease slightly, coupled with lower rates and income growth, resulting in a decreased mortgage payment share relative to median income. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that in our local market, I don't believe that we're going to see home prices softening.
Right.
I think that we still have a lot of buyers and there's a lot of competition because of, the strain on the inventory that we have. So when a house comes on the market, if it's still, if it's relatively move-in ready, you're still going to get the multiple offers. So I just don't see home prices softening in our area.
Right.
I'm sure there's plenty of areas that they are.
Sure. And I think obviously lower mortgage rates would improve affordability. If you do have income growth, that would, like, those pieces I think make sense. But yeah, locally here, I don't see there being much of an easing in home prices.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And looking at this here, I don't know. That's what it looks like. What they're saying is that it's not going to be an easing. I think they're saying slower appreciation, coupled with lower rates and income growth, might mean that the payment's going to actually decrease relative to income. So,
gotcha.
I do agree with you. I don't see any in our market. Other markets, sure, we're already seeing it in Austin, San Antonio, some other places where prices are down slightly. I don't see prices going down at all. So I tend to disagree with. I don't think all these things are going to happen, and I don't know we're going to see a ton of income growth. I think that's a big question here. I think the only thing we're seeing right now is we've got rates at 6 5/8, so that's going to help. Home prices easing slightly. I would say they're going to rise slightly. Would be my, especially looking at the greater Philadelphia area here. So I tend to agree. I don't like everything in there. Number 2, heading into 2024, home sales are expected to remain around 4 million as high costs deter existing homeowners from moving. Sales driven by necessities such as job changes and downsizing are anticipated to play a significant role.
I would somewhat agree with that, but I think that there also have been people that have been, like, I think there is like a pent-up group of people that have been wanting to move or needing to, transact, and we're waiting for the right time. And that as time continues to go on, I guess then they would just get pushed into the category of people that just really do need to move.
Yeah, I think you're right. You always have those folks, but you're right, Sarah. The ones that have been trying to wait it out and sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
There's frustration. So they're like, you know what? We have to do it. We have to make a move. We could be sitting here waiting another 3 to 5 years.
Right.
And we don't know. Nobody has a crystal ball.
Right.
So, just make the move. But I think that with if the interest rates continue to remain where they are or even decrease more, you're going to see some sellers coming back into the market. So we could have a little bit higher inventory, which would be great.
Mm-hmm.
So I think barely budge is it's a little much here. I'm clear we're going to see more homes sell. I mean, if rates are at 6 5/8, like that all of a sudden, I mean, you get to 6.5, you get to 6 1/4. That's going to bring some people to the market. And remember, we've seen 49% price growth since 2020. So there's going to be some people that might have regret of what they bought and say, you know what, we've got enough equity in the home. We're going to move again. We bought this. We knew we weren't going to be here forever. And, you know, if you look at when rates dipped this year to around 6%, home sales were moving very quickly. Beginning of last year, or the beginning of this past year, and other parts. So I do see more homes selling. I don't see a ton more until we see rates come down a little bit more because of the lock-in effect. Because right now it's like 90-some% of people, like high 90s, have a rate that's below where they currently are. So I do see more homes selling. I mean, it's tough to predict where it's going to end up.
Well, and I mean, for the people that bought in 2020 to 2024, 4 years, especially if it's, you know, if you had a big chunk of people who were first-time home buyers, maybe just getting married, like kids can certainly happen in that time frame. And
yes. Great point.
And they do have, if they bought in 2020, 2021, they have great equity in their home right now. So they could make a move. And they could put more money down on the house to offset the interest rates, I think.
Right.
U.S. homeowners are sitting on $9.3 trillion in home equity right now. And it's down slightly from, you know, the peak of 21 and 22. Eventually, people are going to start doing one of two things. I had a conversation with a friend of mine a couple weeks ago around the holiday, and they live in a single-family home. They're settled in. They're going to be adding on to their home. They're going to be building above the garage. There's other homes doing this in the neighborhood. They've got a low rate, but they're in a kind of neighborhood where you can do that. They've got land. It makes sense. If you're in a townhome, you can't add on, right? I mean, if you're in, maybe you can. I mean, I don't want to say never is with those things. There's some people that aren't going to be able to do that, or it's not going to make sense because they're going to be over-improving the property. You really only can do that with a single-family home. So there's going to be some folks that just say, you know what, I'm out. Or it might be like a school district issue. It might be a job relocation issue. Or it might be just something they want to get into a totally different neighborhood. So you've got to be in that right kind of neighborhood to begin with. And I'm clear we're going to see that these people have equity. You know, 7 years used to be the turn time for when people were living in properties. Now it's up to 11, but there's going to be some that move a little sooner than you think. All right, prediction number 3. Realtor.com predicts mortgage rates will be 6.5% by the end of 2024, citing a continued improvement in inflation as the primary reason. What do you think?
I think, we're very close there now. So, honestly,
we'll have to see if this sticks, in fairness.
We'll have to see if it sticks.
I hope it does. I mean, I'm all for it.
I totally hope it does. I hope it's in the lower 6s, actually.
Yeah. So are they saying they're going to go, because of inflation, like at some point they're going to go up again and then come back down, or dip down and then come back up? Just like at the end of the year, they're saying 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's our prediction.
So it could be up and down and up.
Yeah.
We don't know what they mean.
So I'm clear that could be the case, and it might go lower, Stacey, and I'll tell you why. There's been all this noise all of a sudden coming out that the Fed is disconnected from reality and will be cutting rates 4 to 6 times next year.
I heard that too, and I know why. It's an election year.
Well, that's one reason for sure. I don't. Anyone that says it's anything but an election, like, I got news for you. These people care more about their jobs than they do the American people. I don't care what anyone says. I've 100%. Seen it. You've been around all three of us. We've seen these things happen, right? So there's a Paul Gambles. He's a managing partner at the MBMG Group, and what he is saying is that they're way behind the curve when it comes to cutting rates, and that inflation is never going to go down to 2%. The target is unrealistic. And he told on CNBC's Squawk Box, there's a tongue twister here, CNBC's Squawk Box Asia, that the Fed was behind the curve on lowering rates. In order to avoid an extreme and protracted monetary tightening cycle, it will have to deliver at least 5 rate cuts next year alone. And they're just really disconnected from economic factors and from reality, and that you can't make any assumptions about when the Fed is going to wake up and start smelling the amount of damage they're causing the economy. I mean, this is pretty damning stuff here.
That is. Yeah. And I mean, we've been saying for a long time that the 2%, their goal of 2% is completely unrealistic. So I agree with that person on Squawk Box.
Can you imagine if there's that many rate cuts next year?
That would, I'll tell you what, we know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen
crazy.
in our local market. Yes.
It's almost like they should have just like stayed out of it and not done it.
Right.
Oh, wow. The government's staying out of something. Fascinating and excellent advice you have here, Sarah. I'm all for that. I mean, it's just the way it goes. So I tend to, I mean, a lot of people are predicting 6.5, maybe low sixes. MBMA is calling for low sixes. I mean, if we get down to 6, buckle up. I mean, there's going to be a lot of business to be done. And that's why agents need to be talking to their people now. So we're in agreement with some of this stuff, not in agreement with all of them. Very interesting predictions from Realtor.com here. They predict inventory dropping 14.7% in 2024. I don't agree with that one if rates come down. And rent prices, they're talking about they're going to stay pretty flat, which I do tend to agree with.
I agree with that.
On that. So that's what we got on this week's episode. You want to follow Sarah. She's at Ty_Ty Time on Instagram. You can follow Stacey at @2 Mitchko. You can follow me at Tom Toole 3RD, all on Instagram. And remember, if you got some value out of the show here, you want to schedule a call with our team, head over to our YouTube channel, click on the link in the comments. We can walk you through everything real estate related, and make sure to hit the bell for notifications so you know every time we're going live every Tuesday here on WWDB 860 AM on Toole Time Real Estate Radio.